Are you not entertained? So it's almost been a full year using the DZO Arles Prime B sets for commercial, side projects, and experiments here on YouTube. I think they're fantastic, top-tier quality lenses. And for the longest, I never properly tested the Arles on my GFX 102, which got me thinking, does size really matter beyond full frame? So that's what we're going to explore in this video. Also, I have a massive playlist of other lens reviews for your enjoyment, so feel free to click on the link below the like and subscribe button. It's actually kind of a good bicep curl. Goodness grief. Ah! I believe the Arles are worth the hype. They are VistaVision coverage, large lenses, fast T-stops, yet create soft, beautiful, organic images with modern optics. They are a great all-around lens from small to large productions with some character in my opinion. Yeah, the 21 looks so great on the GFX. Now when it comes to the GFX, it is still a mystery for a lot of filmmakers and viewers because of the price, and well, you don't see a lot of DPs or filmmakers using it visibly here on this platform, YouTube that is, in the filmmaking context. But we'll come back around to that. Lenses, however, have been ahead of the camera industry in recent years when it comes to producing large format glass on a consumer level. Lenses that have a large image circle of 43 or 46, so think about your Miscs, your Zeiss, your DZOs, your Tokinas, those types of lenses. In the large format, or in this case VistaVision landscape, we have the Ursa Cine 12K, the Pixis 12K, which is on the way. Yes, it's considered large format. The Red V Raptor and the GFX Eterna, which will be coming later this year as Fujifilm has stated. Available right now, we have the Ursa 12K and the GFX 102, which is the most affordable option to get your hands into a large format camera in the sub $10,000 range for a basic setup. Now you can stretch your dollar further with the GFX because of its hybrid design. And if you think about it, the GFX is actually Fujifilm's full frame camera, VistaVision camera, and large format camera all wrapped into a relatively small body. I literally have no lighting plan. We're just throwing light everywhere and then subtracting what we don't need here. Because this is gonna act like a huge diffusion. So we're just throwing color and all the other stuff in here. It's one of those days, you just wanna try something. You know? I think I find my favorite textures to play with video is this. So let me just walk you guys through the B set of lenses showcasing the different focal lengths as I talk about today's sponsor, MPB. Right off the bat, buying or selling used gear has become increasingly valuable. And some of you watching this video are interested in getting your hands on the DZO Arles or the GFX 102 or other equipment you want to buy. But before you make that purchase, take a moment to do some spring cleaning with the gear you already own. You might be surprised to find items that have been collecting dust over the years. Once you've sorted out your gear, head over to MPB to see your instant quote. Knowing how much you can get for your equipment is the first step towards making better buying decisions. With MPB, you can trade your gear for something you see on their website or sell it for cash. So check out the link in the description for more information. Thanks again, MPB, for sponsoring this video. Lean in again. Do that again. Cool. Now let's get to the meat of this video. Large format versus full frame, and should you get one versus the other? Now I'm taking the perspective of owning and using a large format camera, hence the GFX 102. So if you're a lens snob like me and you care about depth, immersiveness, and just taking that journey on finding different lenses with unique characteristics to try to pair with this sensor size and learning the technical aspects of the process, then a large format camera makes the most sense. You see, the thing is with large format sensors, they breathe new life into lenses that you wouldn't normally see with full frame and even crop sensor cameras. Now for example, when I compare my Samara C 35mm to the Zeiss Jena 35mm, both lenses cover full frame. The Samara C has a heavy vignette in the GF mode and the VistaVision mode. Meanwhile, my Jena doesn't suffer from vignetting, but it has this very interesting focus illusion. The center of the image is sharp when you focus up, but as you move towards the edges, you can see that it has this interesting swirl happening, and then towards the corners, you have another interesting focus fall off, but it's kind of looks like it's trying to be in focus. It's weird. There's a lot of interesting things happening towards the edges, which you wouldn't necessarily notice on a full frame sensor. So in regards of the RO primes, because of the larger image circle, the lenses perform very well covering the GFX sensor. But I do want to take note, if you're using 14mm in the GF mode, it's extremely wide and you're almost looking past the lens. And so you can actually see the edges of my matte box, which is the Misc C5 matte box, which I really love. But this matte box is probably made for smaller setups and not as wide of an angle as this lens. So most likely a larger matte box would fix this issue. So if we're solely talking about field of view when comparing these sensor sizes, I would say that a large format camera isn't objectively better than full frame, though a larger sensor does have its perks. And in the grand scheme of things, for those who need to hear this, a large format camera does not make you a better filmmaker. I still had to have a story, I still had to understand lighting, I still had to understand all these different facets to make a good and beautiful image. You can go bare bones, but just pointing a camera at a subject or a thing isn't going to make it cinematic. I'm rolling on that. So I'm going to have you look this way and then look to camera. So let's talk about the elephants in the room. There's 3 of them. The longer focal lengths in the B set can be an interesting approach to how you use lenses. But I had to say right off the bat, these are just really well-made lenses from the 35 and the 80. I'm actually still having a hard time choosing which lens I like the most and which focal length I like the most. I think they present a really beautiful look. It's really a treat using these longer focal lengths. Now, longer focal lengths aren't always the sexiest choice for filmmakers out there. They normally, you would go for ultra wides or your standards, your 35s and your 50s. I personally love longer focal lengths, but they do kind of present themselves as a specialty lens. Now, the other elephant is the GFX and this outcry of the rolling shutter everyone seems to be talking about. And I do have faith that Fujifilm will address this in the upcoming Eterna, because if it's going to be a production camera, you want to have usable resolutions throughout. That being said, let me remind everyone that this sensor in the GFX 102 is big. It's very big. So there will be some trade-offs when it comes to the sensor readout. Starting with the 8K GF mode, this is going to be the most rolling shutter you encounter. Clearly, with the naked eye test, it's bad. This is rated at 31.7 milliseconds from Cine's website. The 8K GF mode is not something that I actually use, especially because of the 1.4 crop and the high rolling shutter. But for whatever reason, people get stuck on this metric and say that the camera is unusable. However, they forget that the best resolution to performance option is the 4K GF mode, which still retains the full width of the sensor. For me, this passes the eye test. And for the tech kids out there, this is measured at 15 milliseconds, which is greatly improved. For comparison, my X-H2S is rated at 9.7 milliseconds, and that's a Super 35 sensor. All the other modes like the VistaVision and the full frame mode perform the same as the GF 4K mode in this camera. Like I said before, I do hope this improves in the GFX Eterna now that we have cameras like the Ursa Cine 12K, which has an insane 5.5 millisecond readout speed in its resolution modes. I don't know if the Eterna is going to be anything like that, but if it's sub 10 milliseconds, I think that's more than usable in a lot of use cases. So as for now, this is a non-issue for me, in my opinion. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please feel free to leave any comments below of anything I might have misspoken on, or if you're curious about anything that you saw in this video. I really enjoy the Arles, and I'm just overall excited for the landscape of lenses that we can get our hands on as filmmakers. So test what you can and just make dope work. All right, y'all. I'll catch y'all later. This is Gina. Mm-hmm.
know if you're excited for it.